On a mountain in northern Greece, 3 years after a monk is laid in the ground, his brothers come back to his grave. They open it, and they lift his bones out of the earth by hand. To us, this sounds like something gone wrong, a violation, something you would only do in a crime or a horror story. But on Mount Athos it is done with tenderness and prayer by the men who loved him, and it is one of the oldest, gentlest traditions on the mountain. It is not about death the way we fear it. It is about death the way they have made peace with it. This is what the monks of Mount Athos do with their dead, and by the end, you may find you envy them for it. Start with the burial because it is unlike almost anything in the modern world. When a monk dies, there is no embalming, no sealed casket, no polished stone bought to keep the earth out for 100 years. He is washed, wrapped simply, and placed directly into the ground, often with no coffin at all, so that his body can return to the earth quickly and naturally, the way it was always meant to. The grave is simple, a wooden cross, his name, and that is all, because everyone on the mountain knows that this grave is temporary. The reason is partly practical. Athos is steep, rocky, mountainous. There is very little flat ground and no room for the sprawling cemeteries we build, though the same small plots have to be used again and again across the centuries. A grave is not a permanent address. It is a resting place, borrowed for a while, which brings us to the third year. After about 3 years, the community returns. They open the grave, and they gently exhume what remains. If the flesh has returned fully to the earth, the bones are lifted out, carefully washed, and carried to a special building that stands in almost every monastery on the mountain, a place most visitors never truly understand when they see it. It is the ossuary, the bone house, and inside it is not grim. It is ordered and quiet and strangely peaceful. The long bones are stacked together with care, and the skulls, hundreds of them, sometimes thousands, the skulls of every monk who has lived and died in that house across the centuries, are arranged on wooden shelves side by side. On the forehead of each one in ink is written the monk's name and the date he fell asleep. Brother beside brother, the whole history of the monastery, held in a single quiet room. Now think about what that room actually is. It is the entire community, everyone who ever prayed there, still together. Not hidden, not scattered in distant cemeteries, present. And there is one more part of this tradition, and here I want to be careful and honest with you, because it is a matter of belief, not of proven fact. Among the monks there is an old conviction that the bones themselves carry a sign, that when a grave is opened, the color of the remains can say something about the soul that lived in that body. Bones that come up clean and white are said to be the sign of a life honestly completed. Bones with a deep waxen honey gold color, sometimes they say with a faint sweet fragrance, are read as the mark of a truly holy life, and a darkness in the bones is met with concern and with more prayer for the departed brother. I am not telling you this is science. It isn't. It is the belief of a community that has lived closer to death than almost anyone else on Earth for over 1,000 years. But whether or not you share the belief, notice what it does. It means that on Mount Athos, even in the grave, a life is still being read with love. No one is forgotten. No one is simply gone. And this is where the whole strange picture turns into something the modern world has almost completely lost. Because we do the opposite of all of this. We have pushed death as far out of sight as we possibly can. It happens behind hospital doors. The body is taken away quickly by strangers. We seal it, we beautify it, we bury it deep and mark it in stone so we never have to disturb it again. We build our whole relationship with death around one goal: to not have to look at it. The monks built theirs around the opposite. They keep death in the room. A monk on Athos will walk past that ossuary, past the shelves of named skulls of his own brothers and elders, again and again throughout his life. Some keep a single skull in their cell, on the desk where they pray. Not to be morbid, as a companion, a reminder every single day of the one fact the modern world spends billions trying to forget. That this life ends and the way you spend it is the only thing that will matter when it does. There is a phrase carved into ossuaries of this kind, spoken by the bones to everyone who enters: "What you are, we once were. What we are, you will become." It sounds frightening, but the monks who live with it every day are, by almost every account, some of the least frightened people you will ever encounter. And that is the quiet lesson underneath all of it. Not the exhumation, not the painted skulls, but the possibility that our terror of death might come, in part, from how hard we work to never look at it, and that a life lived honestly alongside death might be a calmer, freer, less frightened life than one spent pretending death isn't coming. The monks of Mount Athos are not trying to escape death. They have simply refused to hide from it. And 3 years after one of them dies, when his brothers lift his bones into the light and set his named skull gently on the shelf beside the others, they are not saying goodbye. They are saying, "You are still one of us. You always will be." If this way of seeing the world speaks to you, the whole pattern, how these men eat, work, rest, and live, is in a single free guide, linked in the description. Subscribe and let's keep going together. Next time, we step inside something these same monasteries have guarded for 1,000 years, a library the world very nearly lost forever.